What's going on, everyone? This is the TFT patch notes or patch 12.18, and we got a couple of big changes here. So for the buffs, this is like a brief overview. We have Astral, Mages, Shimmer Scale, Cutthroat, Hero in Training, Lucky Gloves, Verdant Veil, Wukong, Kaiser, Zac, Volibear, Zeri, Zippy, Shioyu, Soam, Swain, and Aurelion Soul. So pretty much everyone that wasn't really played before all got a buff, which is nice. They're adjusting Lux and Deja, and then they're nerfing Cannoneer, nerfing Dragonmancer, Ragewing, Last Whisper, Aphelios, and Nunu. And they're also adding in Dragonmancer Conference. So obviously, this is going to shake up the patch quite a bit because it's the first patch of the set, and they're making like a gazillion changes. So let's just get right on into it. Let's not waste any time. So starting off with Secrets of the Shallows, this is a new event that's coming in right now, and it's going to last until patch 12.20, so that's about a month you have. And this is to celebrate all the new origins that are coming in, so we got a bunch of new skins coming out there. And yeah, Chibi Kaisa's in the game now too. Oh, that's pretty neat. And then now onto the large changes. So they're doing huge changes to Astrals. Astral Orbs will improve with every Astral star level, and essentially everything's just buffed about Astrals. So Astro Orb Quality now only counts star levels from unique units. Stacking duplicate 3-star 1-cost units won't result in an increase beyond the first one. So what they mean by this is that you could have a 3-star Skarner and a 3-star Nidalee. That'll get you 6 star levels, but 2 level 3 Skarners only give 3 star levels. So you need to have unique champions. Astro Orb Qualities now increases at every single star level rather than at specific cumulative star level breakpoints. This means that average orb quality is up across the board. Item components and full item drops occur earlier than before. So obviously all big buffs there. And I've also actually heard that Astrals were actually good last patch. People just didn't know how to play them. So I'm actually kind of scared of the Astral buffs going into the new patch. Cannoneer, Cannon Shot, attack damage ratio is being reduced at the later levels. That makes perfect sense. Dragonmancer bonus health is being reduced as well. A lot of the 6 and 8 Dragonmancer team comps are just destroying everyone recently. The bonus ability power is also reduced at 8 Dragonmancer. Now onto the mages, they're getting their ability power change. It's going to be buffed pretty much across the board, so that's really good. Rage Wing and Rage Attack. Wow. So Mage and Astral buffs. That means like stuff like Lux should be really good into the next patch, perhaps. Rage Wing is going to be nerfed a little bit at 6 Rage Wing. That's the only one that's being touched. So that's when you play Xayah, Shyvana, Rakan, and Hecarim. Shimmer Scale items is going to have Crown of Champions charge time being reduced from 6 to 5 seconds. Determine investor gold granted up by 5. Shimmer Scale item needlessly big gem. Units per gold is being reduced from 3 to 2. Goldmancer staff chance to proc increased by 7%. Goldmaster staff base ability power and mana is being increased by 5 as well. So pretty much all of the items for Shimmer Scale are being buffed. I'm pretty sure this is all of them. And then onto the next unit we have, or the next tier, we have Wukong. So Bonky Kong, in case you guys didn't know, he hits his staff. It looks like a bonk, so people call him Bonky Kong because he's also a monkey. Crushing Blow attack damage ratio is being buffed a little bit. Okay, so maybe Wukong reroll is going to be a thing. It was in previous sets. We'll have to see if that's going to last for this one, though. Units tier 2. Aphelios nerfed, completely justified. Kaiser title burst damage is also being buffed a tiny bit, so perhaps we could see some Kaiser reroll. That's another reroll champ that I have not seen do well because Kaiser is pure damage, so she has to have a comp built around her in order to work because she doesn't provide any CC or utility. So maybe now is her time. Lux Cosmic Spark animation is now slightly faster. The spark damage is also being reduced. So now she, I guess, has better targeting, but she does less damage. So it now travels straight after hitting the initial target. I guess it curved a little bit. I didn't really notice that when I played her. Zac, Unstable Current Heal is being buffed a little bit at all levels. And then now onto tier 3. Nunu Consume Damage Amp as true damage is being reduced by 33% to 20%. And then Nunu's Amplified Consume Damage no longer scales multiplicatively with Giant Slayer's Damage Amp. Volibear Relentless Storm, 3rd attack damage is going to be increased at all levels. So maybe we see a Dragonmancer Volibear. Volibear suffers from the same problem as Kaiser. They just do damage, so if they're not viable, they're just kind of useless units. Zeri Water Shock laser damage is being buffed as well. So okay, maybe reroll is back. Maybe we could reroll Volibear, Zeri, Kaiser, Lux, Wukong, all of these guys. So I'm actually looking forward to that because I like when reroll is semi-viable. Semi-viable meaning that if you get the right start for it, you should be able to do it and still do fine. I don't like it when reroll is able to be forced every single game. So I actually am looking forward to this patch. I've not said that in a very long time. Zippy Bug Fix. Zippy should more reliably attack the target of somersault assault after cast, and then Zippy's attack damage is being bumped up by 5 as well. So now onto tier 4, Deja reworked. Now deals physical damage with her passive Wind Blast barrages and can now equip 80 items like Deathblade and that is a huge Deja change. Let's see why they did that. So Deja's attack damage was lowered to 0 to remove her synergy with Whisper Emblem, but the emblem was causing problems for more than just Deja, so we yeeted it out like a rage quitter during Dragonmancer Yasuo's finisher with the emblem part of the ancient drag. Okay, so they're removing Whisper's emblem. We're reverting Deja to her earlier, easier to itemize and simpler form. Call it Deja Vu. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And so Deja's attack damage, was it actually 0 before and I just never noticed? 0 attack damage. Okay, nah. Today I learned. Deja, well, I guess it's not a thing anymore, though. Deja's Wind Blast passive barrage damage is being reduced a little bit to compensate for the attack damage. Okay. That's a good change. Now you could put any item you want on Deja. Xiaoyu, Jade Form, damage reduction, being buffed at lower levels, 1 and 2 star, makes perfect sense. Xiaoyu's like one of the few dragons that isn't played. I guess Siphon isn't. All the 4-cost dragons, or the tier 4 dragons, are pretty much not played. Xiaoyu, Jade Form attack damage ratio, also being buffed a little bit. Sohm, 3rd cast Vortex damage is being increased as well. Man, some people towards the end of this patch were kind of making Lagoon work, but it's not as good as the Zayas, the Aphelioses, the Nunus. So maybe with all these different changes, it should see the light of day. Swain is such a tragic unit also. So before the set came out on the testing environment, Swain was like overplayed, so they over-nerfed Swain, and then he was just useless so far in the new set. I don't think this is enough to bring him back though. We'll have to see, because they nerfed a bunch of the Darkflight stuff. But let's go through all the changes first before we skip over to some harsh judgments. So units tier 5, Aurelion Soul Black Hole damage is being buffed a little bit. And then the whole damage increase after 18 seconds of combat is also receiving a % buff. So items, Last Whisper being nerfed. Yeah, Last Whisper, it just shreds your tanks so quickly, so it makes a lot of sense. Eternal Whisper, same thing. Augments, Cutthroat being buffed. New Silver Augment, Dragonmancer Conference. Every 2 rounds, a random Dragonmancer appears on your bench. Gain a Kaiser. Hero in Training, Dragonmancer buff percentage is being increased from 50% to 66%. Lucky Gloves. Okay, so now Lucky Gloves, you get like better items. You get full items earlier. And remove some of the weaker options to strengthen the augment. Okay. Yeah, this is probably one of my favorite augments of the set, so I'm glad it's being buffed a bit. Ricochet, Cannoneer, bounce damage reduction is being increased. And then Verdant Veil buff, weak spot, nerf. Okay. I wonder which weak spot this is. Is this the silver one, gold one? I think this was the silver one, but okay, well, we'll check that later. Small changes, Scale Scorn, bonus magic damage is being increased at 6 Scale Scorn. Okay, that's a little rare, but you know, sometimes it happens. Karma Inner Flame. Ooh, healthy buff at 3-star Karma. Hopefully, okay, again, I've been saying this before. The rerolls, all the pure damage reroll units. It might be a thing next patch. Nasus, Fury of the Dawn health increased by 100 at level 3. And then, yeah, another level 3 buff or 3-star buff. Set Knuckle Down, same thing. Units tier 2, Jax, armor and magic resist being buffed up. Interesting. So Jax, I feel like, is the best utility bruiser right now. So it's interesting that they buff him. I think he's just not played that much because no one really plays bruisers, but I don't really think he needed this buff, in my opinion. Lee Sin, max mana nerf, buffed up by, or nerfed by 10. Yeah, the thing about Jax is that whenever I looked at any team comp that had bruisers in it and they needed an extra bruiser, they always used Jax. They never used anyone else. So that's my reasoning for that. But Maybe they just did this to buff up the other bruisers indirectly. Who knows? Item Sunfire Cape, Radiant. Oh, I know. Maybe they did this for Shimmer Scale because they want Shimmer Scale to be played more. Maybe, we'll just have to guess. Items Sunlight Cape, Radiant one. Burn range is being reduced by 1 square. Bulwark's Oath is having the shield duration increased by 1 second. And then the ally, armor, and magic resist is also being buffed by 5. Augment's Dragon Imperialist max health execution threshold is being buffed by 3%. And then Pandora's Bench gives 2 extra gold now. This augment I feel like is so hard to use. Not hard to use, it's just really greedy to use. So yeah, I think it did need a buff. Modes, Hyperroll. Okay, I don't really care about Hyperroll. So bug fixes. Our fix for the skipping stone boom has been delayed. Oh my god. Dude, they need to disable this. They said they disabled it last time. And then I still saw people playing it. So maybe they disabled it for sure this time. Darkflight now sacrifices the champion when Darkflight is activated from a Darkflight unit being auto-placed onto the board at the end of the shopping phase when you have an empty unit slot. Darkflight now shows the sacrifice hex and chain VFX for away players and goes properly. Cult expansion fix a rare issue where ghost armies could have multiple sacrifice champions and thus gain multiple items. Undeserved credit. Nyla no longer resets if her target dies from damage other than her spell. Zippy should more reliably attack the target of Somersault Assault after cast. Nyla now recasts on the nearest unit rather than the farthest unit when she gets a reset. Player named Pokigam actually told me about this, and he said that a lot of people were complaining that Nyla always attacked the carry. And then he did some testing, and he saw that Nyla always goes to the furthest unit. So the way to counter Nyla was to put your carry in the middle back of the map. But now I guess you don't need to do that anymore, so that's no longer a thing. Nyla now casts properly when she kills a cornered target. Nyla's damage should now line up better with her animation. And freebies, Mirage Pirate's Bounty no longer grants a chest after NBC rounds. And then Pandora's Bench and Recombobulator will now pull out the correct number of units from the pool when transforming 2- and 3-star units. I guess before they did not. How did Recombobulator last a full set with this bug? Or did this bug just happen recently? I wonder. The following augments will no longer be offered to players who picked build different. Age of Dragons, Ancient Archives 2, Dragon Imperialist, and Dragon Soul. Hyperroll fixed a bug where you would gain experience during Treasure Dragon rounds. Minor tooltip changes, Scalescorn tooltip update to accurately represent how the trait functions. Okay, so yeah, big patch as we expected. Reroll hopefully is in because I love reroll. I don't like forcing reroll every game, but I like having it as an option. Because sometimes you just get a random Kaiser 2-star early in the game, and then you're like, oh, it's not the meta for it, so even if I get this amazing start for it, I can't really reroll it because it's not strong enough. So hopefully now, when I am in that situation in the 1 out of 20 games that I am, I can go for it. I hope. Last Whisper change, that's probably like one of the, maybe, Last Whisper is hard because there's no way that tanks with 3 items, like 2-star 4-cost tanks, should be shredded in like 1 second from the Cannoneer comp. Mainly it was from Last Whisper, but I wonder if like the 10% nerf is enough. That one's tough to say. Because they changed Last Whisper a couple of patches ago, or like a set ago, where it used to need to critically strike before you get the damage, before you get the armor reduction on Last Whisper, but then they changed it to every auto attack so that you did not need to go Last Whisper Infinity Edge, which theoretically is a good change in my mind, but did it make the item too strong? Did it make armor penetration too easy to get? Maybe. We'll have to see. The dragons, yeah, we have not seen any of these dragons that much. So, yeah, hopefully the stuff that's underplayed should be better. I'm worried about Darkflights, though. I don't really see Darkflight being that strong of a comp. Because they did get the Cannoneer nerfs a lot. Maybe, I'm hoping there's a Rengar build out there. Because they did not nerf the Darkflight interaction with items. So, a lot of people thought they would just reduce the effectiveness of Darklight items. But they did not do that. So, maybe you could still do the Cannoneer build stuff. Maybe you could do a Darkflight with Rengar. But, man, Swain got such a small buff. I feel like no one's going to play Swain still. That's the only comp that I'm kind of not too sure about. But that's going to be it for me today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys on Friday for the Meta Snapshot. I have a little surprise there, so do keep that in mind.